So it was, at first, it was really hard for me to actually, like, put my writing out there, because it's personal. And I mean, who cares? Who cares about me, you know? And I went to an auntie of mine, and I was talking to her about it, and she told me, she says, it's your duty. It's your duty to share that, she said. She says, you know, not all of us have that ability. The Creator gives us all gifts, and I'm sorry, but you know, you can write, so suck it up. And she said, it's your duty to share it. Because she says, I don't know if you've ever noticed sometimes when you're reading, and it's true, sometimes when I'm reading, I'll think, gee, I wish I could have said that. Or, that says what I think even better than I could ever think it, or say it. You know? Like you said that when you said creativity is
Finding out
that you don't know what you already know.
Finding out what you know, but you don't know that you know it.
Right. So I can't hide what's there, right? It's gonna come out. And she told me, it's gotta come out. Let it come out.
And that gets back to the question, is it a liability or is it an asset? And do you build on, believe it or not, by building on the pain, the hurt, the past, something very good has come out of this. Something necessary and something that's clearly communicating and reaching others. Other questions, comments, observations?
I think that's true, that it is like your duty to write because you have that gift. It's really important to get it like mass published too, because so many people in the world feel the same way. And it's important for them to know that someone else feels that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, what a good gift.
Yeah, I noticed you use a lot of symbology in the writings, like with the changing seasons and with the water. That just something you got to look in your heritage.
I don't know, like I think a lot of this is because when I was a kid, because I went through so much violence, I kind of learned to, you know how if you're in a car accident, people say it's in slow motion? Well, I was able to make my world slow motion just because of, you know, you get gifts from hard things, and I think that's one of the things I got, is I have the ability to just do that. Everything can go in slow motion. They can last a lot longer. And then I guess you see the world in a different way, you know? And then being able to see the world, and I spent a lot of time on the land because I had to just to stay the same. And I grew up in such a beautiful place. And I live in a beautiful place now. And this is a beautiful place. I spent a lot of time up at Kikian when my brothers lived up there. But I wanted to comment on the red skirt, or the skirt thing. I don't know who wrote that, but
I did.
you do? It's so funny because, you know, my granddaughter I was talking about, number one, went to a wedding last year, and I took her to this young people's wedding, and they're standing up there, and she says, don't they have any kids? I said, no, I don't think they have any kids. She goes, well, how do they know if they're right for one another? Because her mom and dad had 3 kids, right? They got married. And then, but I had told her there was this lady sitting behind us, and she had on this really nice, tight red dress, and I told her, you know, when I was young, I always wanted a dress like that. Look at that beautiful red dress, I told her. I said, when I was young, I always wanted a dress like that. She goes, oh, no, she says, that's just wrong. She says, I've never seen you in a dress. It's because I don't own one. And so you know, and then you mentioned something about ceremony as well, which really is what sustains me. You know, like they tell us that our ceremonies are our psychologists and our psychiatrists. They're the ones that offer us that help, you know. And our medicine people, we have to support them. They're here, right? Find good people that you can go to, good helpers, and so like, but the thing is, you gotta, as a woman, like you're supposed to wear a skirt, right? You know, I don't come from skirt country, you know. Over there, we never had Chinese. We have like longhouses. Some people go, how do you wear a longhouse? Like this. But, and they tell us is to keep you connected with Mother Earth. That's what they say here. That's where I live. But where I'm from, that's not how it was. So it's kind of hard to. Plus, you mentioned something about male and female, and I'm two-spirited. So I have that.
Wow.
Balance.
That makes sense.
No, how did you get that?
Mr. Little Poplar.
When you mention skirts, although I don't wear them, but I dared one of my nephews, I met him at West Edmonton Mall. I think he was an Irish, you know, they wore
The Scottish, they wear kilts.
Kilt, yep.
you happened to be there, and I said, I dare you to see what's under, I'll buy you your dinner, I said. And I just kept thinking, should I, should I? I said, go for it, I don't know. No, just kidding.
They traditionally don't wear nothing under those.
I don't know, I didn't want
Get a
to.
big surprise if you're under there.
I didn't want to know.
Well, we had a comment from Ms. Rattlesnake to you, but yeah, I don't think you got to hear it.
I did.
Yeah, I think I'm two-spirited too.
Really?
I never realized it until like earlier this year. It's weird for us.
I agree.
Whenever someone in my family is like hurting, oh this hurts, oh that blah blah. Ow, she's like, come here. I'll just kiss him and I'll be like, whoa, it's gone. And I'll be like, no way. And then, or when they have like a sore stomach, I'll just make it go away. And I really want to do it. Like do a whole bunch of other stuff too. You guys do that.
So you're one of our healers, one of our future leaders.
That's how I'm starting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful to see your smile, Ms. Rattlesnake. It's beautiful. It really is. And Miss Lee had her hand up too.
I was just gonna say, ask you, do you call your grand milk too? Because that's what we do. Like, my mom calls my son Muson, my Muson, and when they're my nieces when they were little, Kukum, I know. So you could do that. You could call her your Milko too, because she's your teacher too.
Yes.
And we're learning that right now. Just
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, I do that too with my little grandson. He's just 2 and I say, hey Moshe. And he always, he answers to that, and he knows it. Yeah, we call them grandma and grandpa.
So you guys speak Cree?
No, but because I'm here, it seems like I live in Blackwood country, but I didn't know the Cree. So I've kind of learned some of the, language and stuff. And my son-in-law is, he's Soto, but his mom speaks Cree. So she's from Saskatchewan, and I've just been around it so much that some of it up, and that's been known to them too. But they call me Nokomis, which is grandma in Ojibwe. We've got some strong Ojibwe.
That's what we say too.
Yeah, I knew that. So yeah, that's how that goes. And P.S. in ceremony, I wear a blanket. I do want to compromise.
Oh, that's something like I want to start a line of clothing, like more traditional based, and that's one thing that I want to make, because a lot of women don't like to wear skirts. I would just like to make some wraparound, nothing over their jeans, comfortable. Yeah, some sort of sarong style.
I should mention that Ms. Prue Turner is she got home and, you know, when we talk about making sure we deliver the goods, she was in Montana and got home to Calgary midnight yesterday, and then got on the highway to be here. But she often participates in ceremony. I mean, like, I almost feel like you have to book her between ceremonies. And that's really what's happened. You were involved down in Montana. What was taking place there this weekend?
Ceremony, but it isn't really something that I talk about, so it's okay.
Okay.
But it's just a part of my life.
Yeah.
I've been asked to do, I'm getting older now, so I just have all these responsibilities.
Well, we'll move to someone else in the seminar. They invented their own word after reading and I'll write it down for you. And feel free to come. Well, that's okay. So, the word they invented is, well, did I write it correctly? No, I didn't. Langderhousing. Langderhousing. This is my word, and it means that this is my world, and I'm taking it by storm. Langderhousing. Another portrait of whoever wrote all these poems. These women have great minds, due to the fact that they made me delve into my inner self. I see them as visionaries whose souls are deep with great imaginations. Makes me think that they are native, maybe Métis, with a deep culture in their blood. And the material world is not such a big thing in their lives. They're family-oriented, but at the same time, successful in their own perspective and don't have to care what people think of them. Is that true?
Yeah, it's different from all the others, but it's also true. Yeah, I didn't know I was such a well-rounded person.
What it does bring out that is every one of us is multi-dimensional. And really what's happened is you've got 15 different perspectives that each of them are drawing on your multi-dimensionality. And that's true of each of us. If we could develop the many facets of ourselves, it'll make us better entrepreneurs, better business people. Well, here's, we should open up for questions because we're going to take a break real soon, folks. Let's get in some questions here.
You said you broke into the writing? Didn't your book first published at 40?
Pardon?
You said didn't your writing first published? You was at what, 40? You said?
Yeah, I was 40.
Was
42.
42. So being of your background and being a lady, was it more difficult to get published?
No. No,
Or
I
did you,
never,
like,
I
go
never,
to
well,
independent publishing?
no. I went to, my first book was about, like, it was a memoir. So that's like about, it was not poetry at all. And it was about part of my childhood. And it was actually my best-selling book.
What is it called?
It's called Where the Rivers Join. And it's written under a pseudonym. Like, not my name, they wouldn't let me use my own name. But they went out of business a year later. It's the biggest check I ever got.